It was a beautiful day on Sodor. Thomas the Tank Engine was taking some freight cars. "I warn you, Thomas," said James. "There's a new boat on Sodor, and he's called Bulstrode." Thomas was confused. "Who's Bulstrode?" "Bulstrode is a grumpy barge, and he usually wants to get his jobs done quickly, so he bosses the trucks about." Then Thomas chucked away to say hello to Bulstrode. James was right. Bulstrode was a bad-tempered barge who wanted to keep to himself until he heard a beep beep. "Oh, brother," groaned Bulstrode. "It's that blue tanker." "Hello, Bulstrode," whistled Thomas cheerfully. "How's your day going?" "Bad, and you better chuff away or I'm gonna dump you in the sea." Thomas was most very cross, but he decided not to argue. Then he went to the other side of the freight cars and coupled up to them. "Push us to Bulstrode so we can dump him to the sea." Thomas knew he needed to take them to build a new shed for the summer, but he did what the freight cars were told. However, Thomas didn't know that the coupling snapped. "Oh no," cried Thomas. And Bulstrode didn't know that he was in for a massive crash. "Silly steamies," said Bulstrode. "They think they're tough for me? No way. Even if that red bozo says his little blue friend can take on me any day, I can beat a steamy any day if they think. If I had wheels, of course, and—" On! Faster! Faster! Faster!" said the freight cars. Thomas realized a brick from one of the freight cars had fallen off and landed on the track. "Oh no!" cried Thomas, until it was too late. "What's going on there?" snapped Bulstrode crossly. "Oh no!" "Ah!" cried Bulstrode, as well as the brick falling and the track falling as well. "Ow!" cried Bulstrode. "That hurt!" Later on, machines and vehicles were told to get Bulstrode back on the sea, and the stone for the shed for the summer was put back on the rails by a few machines and vehicles. Sir Topham Hatt was very cross. "Bulstrode," he shouted, "this is your first day here, and you have completely caused confusion and delay already. Thomas may have been careless, but you were very rude to Percy and James when you were unloaded and onto Percy's flatbed. As a punishment, you will be working with Henry for the next several days. Do I make myself clear?" "Yes, sir. Sorry, sir," said Bulstrode. He was very cross, and Sir Topham Hatt went to scold Thomas as well for his carelessness. His driver was especially cross. "If you didn't lose your temper and be so cross with the freight cars and boss them about, this accident could have been avoided." Bulstrode groaned. Then Sir Topham Hatt came. "Thomas," he said sternly, "you have also caused confusion and delay. You didn't watch where you was going." "I'm sorry, sir, but the freight car is uncoupled." "That's no excuse. Neil will be pulling Annie and Clarabelle until further notice." Thomas felt sadly ashamed as Sir Topham Hatt drove away. The next day, Bulstrode was going to be working with Henry. He was still very cross for his punishment a few days ago. "Come on, old boy," he said. "If you behave, you might be able to work at the sea again. I hope I don't have to see that blue tanker and his whale of a friend." Soon, the hook came and carefully craned up to Bulstrode and picked up Bulstrode. "Hey, put me down," snapped Bulstrode crossly. He was carefully put on the flatbed of the truck. The truck was cross as it was very heavy for Bulstrode. "Be careful," snapped Bulstrode. "I'm a boat, not a freight car." The truck was very cross and Bulstrode was bossing it around. "Come on, faster," snapped Bulstrode. "You're so slow. You roll over and chuff like a female engine." The truck driver was very cross, as his truck groaned and moaned with Bulstrode's constant bossing around and complaining. Even as the truck went fast, Bulstrode still complained. Hurry, 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 boomed Bulstrode. Faster, faster, snapped Bulstrode. The truck driver was very cross and exhausted by the time they reached the station. Henry was there. Oh, hello, Bulstrode, he said. Came to take a swim. Bulstrode was very cross. Oh, just shut up and just find a flatman to put me on. Grumbled Gordon. James was right. You have such a big attitude. Henry chuffed away to find a flatbed. Bulstrode was pleased that he was finally gonna have a new job instead of sitting around bossing other engines around, and the tow truck driver was happy as well. Bulstrode waited impatiently for Henry until Henry finally arrived. Okay, it's Bulstrode! Bulstrode snapped crossly. Bulstrode! Snapped the truck driver crossly. You do not talk to other engines like that. But Henry didn't care. Just come onto my flatbed, you silly old barge. What's gonna get me off? You mean that old slow truck again? Come on, can't you at least get that stupid dark brown engine? You know, Harvey. He's busy on the other side of the island to let you know. The hook of the machine finally rose, as Bulstrode was very impatient. Come on, said Bulstrode crossly, as Bulstrode was lifted off the rails. Ah, finally, now I can get to going back to the sea. Hey, cried Bulstrode. There, said the crane driver. Bulstrode was very cross. Come on, Henry, I'm gonna show you one of my friends. Oh, bother, groaned Bulstrode. Hurry up with it. Bulstrode, said Henry. You sound like Emily. Bulstrode was very cross. Ha, whoever she is, she's nothing but a bossy boiler. Later on, Bulstrode made it to the quarry, where he was greeted by Thomas. Despite Bulstrode not have forgiven Thomas ever since they both got punished, Bulstrode was a little happy to see Thomas. Thomas, he said, I'm sorry what I said about you, Percy and James. And Percy, I'm sorry I was rude to you and James. I accept your apology, said Percy. Fine, I accept it too, James sniffed annoyedly. Now we're your friends, said Thomas happily, as Henry pushed Bulstrode to the side. I'll be back. I have to take a good strain. Why are you leaving me here? Spluttered Bulstrode. Can't I be back at the sea? But you're still punished, you know. Me too. Bulstrode groaned in annoyance. That night, Bulstrode couldn't stop thinking of the sea. He was feeling seasick. I really wish I was back at my old home. I wish I had an old shed, said Bulstrode. I miss my old shed, where it wasn't so creaky, and it didn't make lots of noise. But they got rid of my old shed, because they had to send me to this dump of a railway. Hey, shut up, said James. I'm trying to get some rest. Bulstrode began to cry a little. I miss my shed so bad, he said sadly to himself. Thomas realized how sad Bulstrode was. But how do I make Bulstrode happy? Thomas said to himself as he went to sleep sad for his friend. The next morning, Thomas thought of an idea. Hey, Bulstrode, I've heard from Sir Tom Hat that you're going to your new shed now. Bulstrode was surprised. A new shed? Wait a minute, are you tricking me, Thomas? No, I spoke with Sir Tom Hat before you, Percy, and James, and the other engines woke up. So I asked him if you can go by the sea again, and I can get Annie and Clarabelle back. And he said yes, as long as you behave and not complain. Bulstrode was so happy he couldn't help but smile. Now, if he had a horn, he would honk loudly, but that would just make James cross. But anyway, Henry came to pick him up. Where have you been? Huffed Bulstrode crossly. Sorry, said Henry. I had to deliver the flying kipper. Well, just take me to my new shed, said Bulstrode happily. With enough puff, Henry chuffed Bulstrode out of the quarry. Bulstrode was so happy. Later on, Bulstrode saw his new shed. "My new shed!" cheered Bulstrode happily. "Oh boy! Is anyone gonna lift me down so I can rest in it, since I haven't had my old shed ever again for years?" The workman and his driver agreed. "Hooray for me!" cheered Bulstrode happily. Henry chuffed away. That night, Bulstrode was resting. He was dreaming of his new friend Thomas. Then he spoke to himself. I've learned an important lesson. Never ever be grumpy, he said to himself. And the important thing is, always trust your friends. And Bulstrode went happily to sleep.